Good day, everybody. IOBA, my name is TC. This is the Awareness Channel, and what I'm going to talk about today is what I want to speak on today is this brother named Byron Donalds. I use the term brother in quotation marks. I'm sure by now a lot of people have already spoken on him and the foolishness he said about how black people were doing so well under Jim Crow. Now, I listened to all of what he said, right? I listened to all of what he said, and I kind of understand what he was trying to say. But what gets me is he talk about what a smart person he is. He talks about how articulate he is and what a wordsmith he is. And he couldn't come up with no better example to use than Jim Crow. He couldn't say, before the civil rights legislation came about or some other such, verbiage. He had to go with Jim Crow. Now, he a young cat, too. He looked like 40-ish. But what gets me about these black Republicans is, first, a lot of them, they married to somebody other than a black person. You dig me? A lot of times they trying to lighten their lineage up all by themselves. They trying to lighten their lineage up, if you dig what I'm saying. And then they got this simplistic view of the history of black people in this country as if they don't know or can't read their own history as to what really happened to black people and what was done to black people in this country. It's like, or either that or they want to try to forget it, make it go away. As if it has no effect on how we have to live now and what's going on with our society now. Black Americans, I'm talking about now. I'm talking about black Americans and why we are still at the bottom of the social and economic scales. Why we don't have anything. I mean, and this dude who's supposed to be so smart, it's typical of Florida politicians, though, especially black Republicans in Florida. My job, had me on the other side of town for the first 5 years. I was way over on the south side of Jacksonville. And there was a lot of black Republicans over there like this guy. A lot of them. I used to run into them all the time. There was this dude at the car dealership I worked at, right? I worked at big BMW dealership here in Jacksonville. And this brother was, Uncle Ruckus ain't had nothing on this nigga. He was terrible. He hated Barack Obama's guts. It was probably illegal to talk about a president the way this brother used to talk about Barack Obama. And, then he ran into me. And, I could push back. And we started getting into little sparring matches and little debates, but we never had no showdown like I wanted to. Because I was real busy when I was working at that dealership. I was not a salesman. I was more of an inventory guy. But anyway, that nigga and niggas like him was all over that side of town. And then I got a job with the school district. And it was the same thing because I was on the same side of town. But occasionally I'd run into a live brother. I'd run into a brother coming through as a substitute or something. And, we'll get to talking. And he'll be like, you need to be on the other side of the bridge. I said, what you mean? He said, well, when you go to the other side of the bridge, it's a lot more people like yourself. It's a lot more live people like yourself. It's a lot more quote unquote Democrats like yourself. I said, well, I'm really not a Democrat like that. He said, I'm an independent. I'm a registered independent. He said, still, your militancy and your knowledge of your history and all of the shit you represent, you know what I'm saying? You coming in here wearing Malcolm X shirts and shit like that. Brother, you need to be on the other side of the bridge. So eventually I did come to the other side of the bridge. Jacksonville, Florida is so big, it's like it should be really 3 cities, but it's one big spread out place. And from one side of town to the other, the politics are very, very different. You see. So now I'm on the side of the bridge where I run into a lot more like-minded people. A lot of them are straight up Democrat and shit and don't know no better, but at least they Democrats and they think they're getting a better deal. Whereas on the other side of the bridge, them niggas over there are straight coons. I'm sorry. That's it. That's Coon Village over there on the other side of the bridge. And I don't care about that. But if they would, when they asked me a question, when they got in my face, I gave it to them. So a nigga like this Byron Donalds brother, I know niggas like that. He might even be just, I was going to say he might even be just running the grift. But no, he in it for the long haul. You're going to see this motherfucker down the road running for senator or some shit like that. He gonna ride this horse all the way up. He got his eye on Clarence Thomas fucking Supreme Court seat somewhere down the road. That's the kind of nigga he is. But let him do his thing. And if history is any judge, he gonna get his Negro wake up call at some point. At some point, he gonna get his Negro wake up call. That's all I got to say about that motherfucker. As smart as he claimed to be, he couldn't come up with no better example than to use Jim Crow. The Jim Crow era. This young motherfucker really don't know too much. He need to do some more research on how bad the Jim Crow era actually was. I mean, he don't have no idea. He gotta ask a triple OG like me, who grew up at the tail end of that shit. I got lucky. I came of age because I was born in 1957. 1957, that's before the civil rights legislation was signed. And I grew up down south. We went up north. And we had to live in a separate part of town. We went through all of that bullshit. I lived through that shit. And yes, our family was together. But our family got ripped apart by design. The destruction of the black family was by design, my brother. I mean, you, as smart as you are, how do you not know that? These motherfuckers can't be that stupid. What he doing is he trying to run this grift. And he trying to get in good with these crackers. And he trying to make his money. I'm hoping that's what it is. Because if it's not, then he a self-hating, coon-ass nigga. Either one is bad. Either one is bad, isn't it? Oh, Byron. Boy, I'm telling you, Florida is a wasteland. Florida is a fucking wasteland. This motherfucker said Florida is where wokeness goes to die. No. Florida's where common sense goes to die. That's what the fuck Florida is. Florida is where coon ass niggas go to die. Motherfucking Jim Crow. Under Jim Crow, he's sitting there smoking cigars, sipping whiskey, and saying dumb shit out his neck. Smoking cigars, sipping whiskey, and saying dumb shit out of his neck. That's what he doing. And then he go his ass home to Becky and say tell himself he had a good night. Man, fuck that dude and Herschel Walker. Byron Donalds. Motherfucking nigga named Byron any goddamn way. Motherfucking nigga named Byron. Nigga. Anyway. The elections are coming up fast. And I still think Donald Trump gonna get his ass handed to him. I think a lot of the hype about how close it is just that hype. Although I do know there are a whole lot of ignorant ass crackers and coon ass niggas who really do believe that Donald Trump is the better choice going in. You know? But I really don't think so. I think neither one of them really have any grand plan for us. But if I had to sit down and talk with one of them, I guess it'd be, people who represent the Democratic Party. But being an independent, the Republican Party's stance on immigration, I'm kind of with that. I really don't think that we should be allowing ourselves to be replaced as a voting bloc, black people, by people coming from across the border illegally and being given shit that we can't get, being given shit that they tell us they can't afford to give us, like telling us we can't have reparations, while at the same time funding all of these programs for these illegal people, funding all these wars and all of this devastation and destruction across the world, but can't take care of the people who actually built this country. So I got a problem with that. So you see, my politics run that way. And my politics lean to the left, way to the left. All right, so, I say this a lot so that people don't, have no real illusions or delusions about how I think, about what I really think. But I'm really a leftist, yes I am. Because I believe that there's enough shit on this planet for everybody. And nobody should be trying to hog it all up or sell every fucking thing for a profit. That to me is fucking the ass backwards way to run a society to me. That creates poverty. So yeah, I'm a socialist. I'm a leaning type brother. I guess I am a socialist. Fuck it. And so yeah. But niggas like this Donald person, Candace Owens, what's that dude? Thomas Sowell. It's a whole bunch of them. And then you got people that are hustlers who are who act like they're on the side of, the people, but all they doing is hustling and selling shit and getting you to buy shit. They just running game too. They just running game too. But full disclosure, I do sell something. I sell artwork, but I sell one piece at a time to certain individuals. They pay me money. I create for them a piece of art. But I ain't on here selling motherfucking bug spray and sweat socks and what is it, pepper spray and shit. I can't. And fucking courses and stuff like that. Trying to separate people from their hard-earned money. I ain't doing that. I just ain't doing that. I'm dispensing knowledge because I have a lot of it. And the knowledge I dispense is just from my experiences in life. You dig me? So with that, I'm going to go head on. But don't worry about Byron. He going to be down here in Florida. You're going to see him down the road doing something. But he going to slip up. They always do. They always do. With that, I'm going to close. Y'all don't forget to like my shit. Hit the subscribe button. And I'll catch y'all on the next one. TC. And I'm out. Peace.